one of the things I tell people when I'm talking to them about getting licensed, expanding, I'm always looking to expand, right? We're always looking for people that want to make a change, make a difference in their life and other people's lives. That's the win-win here. I think what the pandemic did, I tell people, it exposed what you were already doing. It didn't put you in a bad position. It exposed what you did. It exposed that you got comfortable at your job. It exposed that you didn't save money.
Focus on hitting your goals in every area of your business. Remember, the universe rewards the bold. A leader has to take the risks.
So welcome to the Wealth on the Beach podcast. My name is Daniel Alonzo, and as always, I'm your host. We're talking about health and wealth and building great businesses with some of the greatest minds on the earth. And today I'm hanging out with the awesome Abraham Montiel, one of the biggest builders in the company right now. He's a regional vice president, near-term $500,000 earner. He's been in business for 18 years, man, and his team is doing amazing things right now. And so, Abraham, what's going on, dude? What's cooking, dude?
Hey, how you doing, man? Super excited. I know for a lot of things, people have had bad times during these days, but this is where the cream rises to the top. And I feel right now, the focus that I'm on is just to be an inspiration, a beacon of hope, just to the people around, just battling. And I think that's what's caused our explosion. And I think right now it's just exciting to see what's happening with our office, with our leadership. Just seeing the hope in their eyes and their inspiration compared to everybody else. To everybody else in the world. It just looks like we're like night and day, man, night and day compared to everybody else. So I'm excited, man. What's going on?
We are still in a pandemic. I mean, Los Angeles is still a bunch of idiots, shut down the world. Right. I mean, this is ridiculous. I mean, crazy stuff right now. I mean, imagine, right? I mean, I was out the other night and I'm driving in LA and out there and it looks like a ghost town. I mean, no restaurants were open. I mean, nothing. And so Abraham, how is that? I mean, if you think about it, right? I mean, why did you, right? Because you've had an explosion in 2020, man. You're on fire, one of the top offices in the entire country. Like, why did you, do it and so many people didn't do it? What's going on in your mind?
Well, I was here in 9/11. I was here when the stock market crashed. I was also here during the mortgage crisis. And I saw how many people stayed focused and succeeded through that. So the way I saw it was, as soon as of course, the first shutdown, everybody had to stay home. And then when they gave us an opportunity to open it, I said, you know what? 20%, we're going to do 20%. So I said, this is my time to lead. I've gone through all these years of grinding and battling and all that stuff. So I said, this is where my people need me. I'm not going to put my head in the sand. I'm not going to hide. I'm not going to listen to the news and the media and all that stuff, because if you have life, you have hope. And so I had hope. I have breath in my lungs. I'm going to make sure I'm going to go for it, and that's what I think inspired our team and kept them focused during that time. So I think it was just me making that decision that I wasn't going to follow, the media or other people. I was going to follow my experiences, because the point of experiences is to learn from them, not to repeat them. Right. And that's what I did. And I think that's why our office is, pretty good size, packed out, and people are excited to move forward, man. And I think that's what was me making that decision to lead.
Yeah. And that's in that, because, I've known you for a long time, and, I've always thought of you as a great leader. I mean, you are a leader of people. You love your people, you love your team, you love your organization. And that's why people follow, people follow because they want to follow a leader that inspires them. They want to follow somebody that, so tell me, let's go back a little bit and let's talk a little bit about how you grew up, where you grew up, and kind of tell us a little bit about your childhood. What was that like?
Well, I think we have something in common. We played baseball. I grew up with a single mama, and she was just always a hard worker, a little pessimistic, at times, imagine raising three kids on your own. You're going to get a little frustrated, a little bitter, as you get older, you start realizing, what our parents have gone through. Right. So I just remember growing up and getting into sports. And I think that's what helped me. I grew up in the lower income housing in North Hollywood, where we got lunch tickets, right? We thought, oh man, these are cool. And then you realize, they're trying to keep you there, teach me how to fish, don't give me fish, and just, I guess, from coaching. And then when I got introduced to our business, to financial services, I said, everybody needs this stuff. And all the coaching, all the training, all the mental I actually ran 2 LA marathons as well in 96 and 97. And I remember my baseball coach told me one time, he said, if you can finish a marathon, you can achieve anything in your life. He goes, a marathon is 90% mental, 10% physical when it comes past a 20-mile. And just those things stuck to me. I remember in high school, one of my teachers told me, Abraham, when you're writing stuff down, he believed in writing what you felt, even if he had a cuss word in there and, stuff like that. And he goes, what I want you to do when you write something down, I want people to be able to see what you're writing. And I said, wow, like I want you to paint a picture with your words. So I think all my time when I painted a vision, whether I've had bad years or good years, I've never got, my vision's always been my vision. A lot of people I see that aren't committed to their vision, they're more committed to their money or to their income or to whatever. They get distracted and they get sidetracked. Me, people say, you should have done this sooner or that sooner. I know my vision. And when people connect to your vision, it'll come to pass. And until then, you got to keep being committed. So growing up with my mom like that and not knowing.
What did your mom do? What did your mom do?
My mom cleaned Olive View Medical Center. She cleaned a hospital here for 29 years. And because of this business, I was able to retire her and supplement her income from what she was getting just from, Social Security, all that. And she needed, but her body couldn't do it. So now I take care of her. And because of this business and our income now growing and growing, she's just in great shape. Of course, my mom's a control freak a little bit. So being away from work for 5 years, it's kind of, but I just see her and she's so proud of us. My other sisters have done well. They're, in college, they graduated college. They have so it's not just me that takes care of her. We all do, but I'm just glad she's not cleaning a hospital anymore. Imagine if she would have been doing that during this COVID.
Oh, no,
so
no.
I'm just grateful for staying with it.
So growing up though, what kind of kid were you? Were you a good kid, bad kid? Tell me about, did you get in trouble as a kid? Tell me a little bit about your childhood, man.
Well, I enjoyed partying growing up. I remember going out at 13. My mom would drop me off and I would drop me off at the party. My mom let me grow up. She didn't control me. But I was, the guy I would get good grades, but then you, because talks too much. My report card said talks too much. But yes, I was in the dean's office a lot.
They didn't realize, sorry for interrupting you, but it's funny because they didn't realize, right, when the teacher's writing, talk too much, and you get in trouble. Like if you're a school teacher and you're listening to this, stop getting kids in trouble for talking too much. Praise them when they talk too much, because guess what? It's all of us talkers that end up becoming really successful one day. And that's exactly what happened to you, man. You were a communicator. You like to meet new people. You were always making friends. You were having friends around. You were talking. And then look at you now, man, making $500,000 a year. So go ahead. So tell me about those days in school.
But I had my coach, Coach Verneau, and to this day, he was my father figure. He's the one that told us about the marathon. It made us run the marathons and killed our speed, because longest distance running kills your freaking speed, right? But I love him for his mental toughness. I love him for not giving us anything, making us earn every at bat, every And I think with all of that, and you know, I was just like you said, I like people having a good time. I like people having fun, and I just like going out. And we even had a party crew. I remember we started a party crew, us a couple of group, my buddies and I. We had a guy on the group that we called LCH, Latinos Causing Havoc, and we used to throw flyer parties. I don't know if you remember the flyer parties.
Oh yeah, I threw lots of flyer parties, man. Absolutely.
So you know, that's a lost art these days, right?
It is.
Now if you throw one, they'll stop it in. So it was just a great time. But I was talks too much. But I was more like, I want to have people to have a good time, have fun, enjoy themselves, and that's what I want to do in my business. I want people to have fun working the business, enjoying themselves. You know, not comparing themselves. And I think that's the best part about growing up the way I did. Like, I have no regrets where I grew up, how I grew up. I think it's made me who I am today, you know.
And now did you go to college? Did you graduate college?
Yes, I went 2 years. I played 2 years of college ball. I actually got invited for a tryout with the Brewers before I got injured, and but never made it past the college level. So that was a big thing for me, because I remember before I got into business and got my licenses, my best friend George Solis, he goes, "Hey man, I'm getting licensed in this business, and he goes, and I think you'll be great at it because you talk a lot. So see how it reverses." And I was like, "Come on, George, what do you mean you're getting licensed in this business? You don't even." George would not talk to people. Okay, George was the type of guy. He needed 2 shots of Jim Beam before. We used to call him Liquid Courage at the club, you know. And I remember he goes, "Hey man, I think you'll be great at this." And I was like, you know what? Like, honestly, I didn't know what I want. I was so competitive in baseball. I wanted to make it. I'm pretty sure you felt the same way. Like, that was everything to me. Like, I breathed it. I mean, when it rained, I was upset. And I remember he told me that, and I go, "Okay, I'll go." As soon as I saw it, I was like, I'm in. I didn't really understand it, but I'm in. And
what were you doing at the time, though? What were you doing?
I was in college playing
so
ball.
You went straight from college to business.
Yeah, I had a part-time at Home Depot, you know, like you work college.
Yeah.
But I didn't have, that was my job while I was in school.
You never had a career. You never had a quote unquote real career.
This is all I've ever done.
This is it. So it was this guy, George. Like, what did you see at that meeting that really, like, if you were to think back, like, what did you see that really made you say, "Man, I'm in"?
Well, we were at the convention center, LA Convention Center, and they were rolling out this thing called an F&A. And I don't know if you remember that meeting in the LA Convention Center. And I went.
Financial needs analysis. Financial needs analysis, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah, just be careful with the F&A. And I remember I was into wrestling then. So I didn't really go because I wanted to go to the convention center. I mean, I was already going to go because it was my buddy George, right? I was going to get licensed with him. Okay. He never steered me wrong. So I trusted him, you know? And so I go, maybe I'll run into some people at the Staples Center, because they were at the Staples Center. And so I went to the orientation. They were teaching the financial planning, how the new plan was going to work and all this stuff. And then I told my buddy, I go, "Man, it's getting close to time when they, you know, it's over." So I go, "I'm going to walk out of here. Okay. And I'm going to go." And he goes, "Oh, there's one more speaker. There's one more speaker." I go, "It's cool, bro. I'm in, bro. I'm going to get my license. Let's learn the business. Let's get licensed. Let's learn about the insurance and finances. You know, I'm good, bro. I trust you, man." He goes, "Oh, just wait. And I left outside. And then later did I know the last speaker was a gentleman named Hector Lamarck, one of your mentors, you know? And I never knew, I never knew who Hector Lamarck was. Little did I know, I was listening to him in CDs and trainings my whole career. So, but that shows you, like, anybody can win in this business. Anybody can win in this business, not knowing what you're missing. And that's what leadership's about. You don't know what you're missing. So that's how I got started.
So looking back, though, you know, specifically, why do you think you said yes? I mean, other than, like, what, not just saying yes, because you said yes because you're buddy. I mean, that's you know, just because it was warm. But why did you, like, when was that moment where you really said, I'm going to do this like all in? Like, was there something that really got you excited?
To me, I saw the need. I didn't know about insurance and retirement planning. I mean, we didn't grow up like that. And insurance, where I grew up, was a picture of, I always say this, in a picture of Smokey that got smoked and they asked for a donation. I mean, it sounds funny, but it's true. I mean, we're not prepared. Me being a Latino, born here, you know, and, you know, speak Spanish as well. You know, I saw that lack of education in the community, and I got tired of seeing people, they pass away, they have to fundraise, or I see some moms 50, 60, 70 years old, you know, still working, Daniel, you know, and I go, I got to change this. And then, cause one time I asked George, I go, so who do we talk to? And he said, anybody. And I looked out my bedroom window at the time, because, you know, everybody has their little PlayStation in there, and it's your little computer, and that's your little spot, you know, growing up. And I said, and I looked out the window and I go, anybody? I go, I'm going to be rich in this business. And that need, what it was, is the need, and that I was willing to go and spread the news. That's what got captivated me, is that nobody's teaching this to the middle class families, you know. And let me tell you something, even people with money get taken advantage of. They're not even 100%, because they make so much money, people could just take and take and take. But when someone comes in and educates a family from what they learned, I saw that as a, like, who else is going to do it? And here's what's funny, the banks ain't going to do it. And I used to always say, if you go into a bank right now, they have ATMs instead of people. We're looking for people. So these guys put lollipops on top of an ATM while we're over there looking for people, right? To license and train. The personal part of financial services is gone, besides our business. And that's what I saw back then. And now it's even better now that it's coming to fruition. So,
and really, and it's kind of what I saw too. You know, when I got into financial services, I saw that it was never ending. It was like, the market will never go away. It's only expanding. It's never going to shrink. It's only going to expand, because ultimately every day somebody turns 18 years old, they come to work with us. Every day somebody has a baby, so which means they probably need life insurance. Every day somebody turns 16, needs auto insurance. Every day somebody goes to work and, you know, wants to start a retirement program for the future, or when they have a kid, they want a college fund or something like that, right? So it's just like, it's never ending, the amount of people. There's 400 million people in the United States and Canada. I'm so glad that I picked financial services, because financial services, not only has it allowed me to make a lot of money, which is great, but it allowed me to be in a business that doesn't go away. Like for example, right? This last year, we have the worst pandemic in the history of the world. And this is the best income year that you've had in your entire life.
Yes.
So you've made more money this year, $40,000 a month you're making plus, and it's the best year of your life. And it's all because of a pandemic. So how has the pandemic helped you in your business? What would you say?
Well, one of the things I tell people when I'm talking to them about getting licensed, expanding, I'm always looking to expand, right? We're always looking for people that want to make a change, make a difference in their life and other people's lives. That's the win-win here. I think what the pandemic did, I tell people, it exposed what you were already doing. It didn't put you in a bad position. It exposed what you did. It exposed that you got comfortable at your job. It exposed that you didn't save money. It exposed all those things. It's like, you heard the term, when the tide comes in, you find out who's swimming naked. So what the pandemic did, it found out who was just living at the edge, you know? And I think what the pandemic did for me is my message became more valuable. And like I tell my guys, if you want to make more income, you got to be more valuable to society. You got to fill that need in society. Something the society needs, You need to fill that need. And the only way you're going to be valuable is being licensed, being knowledgeable, working on your people skills, working on your habits. And I think with people staying home and losing their jobs, hearing this message is like, I'm not going to go, I'm going to follow this guy. I'm going to follow this office because I can't keep depending on what I did the last 5 years. And I think that's what happened. I think a lot more people, the right ones, I mean, said, you know, I'm not going to get put in this position again. And I think that's my message to people. Like, don't get stuck in that career path again. You got to start learning skills where you don't need a boss, where you don't need somebody that you work for, where you can make your own income. And I think that's the message that's going through. And I think that's what has attracted people during this pandemic. And our team has grown since the pandemic.
And so
it's phenomenal.
So how do you, because you're a really good coach and you are great at building team camaraderie and meeting attendance and getting people to follow you, you know? And so for all of our listeners, I want you to kind of coach all of us on how we can be better coaches, how we can get more people to follow us. And because I think that's a major challenge for a lot of people. They recruit a bunch of people, but getting them to follow is a different game. So can you give us some thoughts on that?
One of the things I think is, don't forget where we come from, right? Know where people are at. You don't know what they've gone through. Today I posted a guy walking down a picture on Instagram, a guy walking, and it says, lost his loved one, just broke up in a bad relation, and he's holding these bags, you know? And we don't know where people are coming from. So today I posted, recruit people without judging people. And I think me with not only getting people in the licensing process, I think what's helped me is I'm very honest with my guys, very direct with my guys. I don't try to be someone I'm not, because sometimes we try to cater to people instead of the vision that you're given. Now, that doesn't mean disrespect people. That doesn't mean put down people, but it does mean you got to stand firm for what you're called to do. And I see a lot of people that aren't direct with their people because they're afraid to lose people. And if you're afraid to lose people, you're going to lose them anyways, because that means you're allowing them to lead and you're not leading. And I think that's where, like, if you're not bumping heads once in a while with your people, then you're not leading your people. If everybody's always yes and yes, sir, yes, no, you need to have, you know, constructive conversations, you know, where you have, well, I heard something from Steve Jobs, that he said that he had a conference with people, right? And they said, he goes, so you're in, yeah, he goes, I don't have no managers or anything in Apple. And he goes, everybody, we have committees. And they go, committees? The guys, what do you mean? Yeah, and then I go into each committee, and then everybody goes through ideas. And he goes, and the guy goes, you give ideas too? He goes, yeah. And he goes, they must always say yes to you. He goes, oh, I lose them most of the time. I lose most of the time. He goes, that's the only way you keep great people. If you only want to be right all the time, you're always going to lose your great people because they don't see themselves growing with you. And I think with me, when I heard that, I go, I do that, you know, I do that with my people, you know, and sometimes I feel that, that leaders that don't constantly, because you hear a lot of people that say, man, you get a lot of people on your team, you know, you should be doing this. And I go, listen, until you do that, then you'll understand. Everybody joins the gym, but not everybody goes. I can't force someone to go to the gym. I can't force someone to come to training. And I'm very clear about that up front. And I think with the pandemic also, adding to what we're talking about, the Zoom has allowed me to speak more into my people's lives. Like, because I'm so big, we have 158 licensed agents, okay? So there's only so much people I can reach the old way. Now, when I have a Wednesday and Sunday Zooms, I'm able to reach them and lead them, and they're able to hear my voice more. But I think being direct is what's lacking with the people that aren't growing and retaining. they're catering to them, and they have, and I don't mean it in a bad way, but they have a lot of phony people in their team, meaning you're not being honest with each other. There's something that's not clicking. And until you start getting to that, you're never going to get people that are going to stick through the grind. Because as soon as it gets tough, they're going to be gone, because you're not pointing out that toughness. And I think that's why my coaching has prevailed during this time.
Yeah. And I think that ultimately, you know, I remember this scene in Rocky. I think it was Rocky 3, and he was talking
one of my favorites.
One of my favorite movies too, right? All the Rocky movies, and he was on the beach, and he had just lost to Mr. T, and he was on the beach talking with his wife. And he was basically giving up. He said, yeah, I give up. I don't want to do this anymore. Why are you making me do this? And she's just yelling and screaming at him. It's a great partnership. Believe it or not, it's a great partnership video. We watch it every year with our team. And he said, why did Mickey lie to me? You know, why didn't Mickey tell me the truth? Why didn't he tell me that I was not as good? Or why didn't he tell me? Why did he put me up with people that weren't as good? Why did he lie to me? You know, when you were saying what you were saying right now, it just reminded me of why I always try to be honest with my people. I mean, almost to a fault. I mean, I think I'm too honest sometimes. I mean, you know, sometimes you can't be completely honest. You know, I mean, I think sometimes you have to be, you know, with the empathy and be kind and
yes, I agree.
Know, and understand that, yes, they were wrong, but they were wrong because maybe just with the circumstance, it just wasn't possible, whatever. But the point that I'm trying to make is that I really did the best job I could. I mean, I don't know if I definitely didn't get it always right, but I really try to do a good job. Like you're talking about, telling the truth, man, telling people where they're really at. You know, if somebody's failing right now and I know why they're failing, I got to tell them why. Because if I don't tell them why and they keep going, one day, man, 10 years, they're going to wake up and they're going to go, I failed because of you. You lied to me, man. You didn't tell me the truth. You didn't tell me what do you think about that? What do you say about that?
Well, I agree. I think I was a little more hardcore in my younger years, you know. I still feel strong and young, right? But when I was first learning leadership, I think I was hardcore into that and not being empathetic, not being, you know, understanding. I think now I'm kind of like with more truth, but also understanding. See, what I'm starting to understand is if I'm working with somebody new and they're thinking, if my thinking levels here with my experience, the self-improvement I've done in my life, right? And then their thinking's down here, they're not going to understand me. So I got to help them get to this level. But a lot of leadership, what they do is they try to talk at this level to their people at this level. It's not going to click. It's not, they're going to get defensive. They haven't got to a place. So what I stopped doing is newer people is love and encourage them, spend time with them, help them. Awesome. Great. The people that have been with me longer that are at that level, hey, you know, this is what needs to change. I had actually 2 conversations yesterday. Like, when are you going to make an adjustment? Okay. Because one guy told me, oh, I think I'm doing great. And I go, well, your numbers aren't doing great. You got to, I mean, it's okay to feel positive and stuff like that, but you got to be realistic where you're at. And you got to make an adjustment. And the only one that could change it is you. And I think with that coaching is I stopped coaching these people and more encouraging these people that are learning. And then the ones up here is where I coached them. And then from there, they transfer what I'm telling them to them. And I think before I used to have a group and thought, let's say Daniel went to, you know, some appointments and I saw you, I was, oh man, come to leadership training. And then I would be talking to a leader and then this guy's brand new and he doesn't deserve to hear that talk. So I made mistakes like that, you know. Now I
think one of the things that you're doing really great at right now, Abraham, is you separate us. Tell us a little bit about how you're separating the spouses, Because that's really different, man. That's a different concept that I've never heard in all my years. Because what do we talk about in our company? Partnership, 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 partnership. So it's not that you're against partnership, but tell us the little thought that you have and the idea that you're implementing in your base.
Oh, what I think is, like my wife, right? Gabriela, she's incredible in the back end. She's incredible with clients, incredible with the agents. Okay. But I'm the face, I'm the talk, I'm the, so she's incredible in that role. So if I'm going to have a talk about a business, like if I, like, let's say me and you are out there grinding and helping clients and we're out in the field, why would I have my partner there? Let's say your partner there, if she's the one helping in the back end of our business, right? And helping them. Like, imagine me, because she's going to be like, why is he mad at you? Why is he? Because they're not in the fire. This part of the game, right? So what I decided to do is to keep people separate, okay? And I actually had, Joe Ward, you interviewed Joe, right? And I remember Joe had told me that's a great, that it's good that he liked the conduit's name, like, because I used to tell people, you got to be a conduit of me, and I go, so I just created a conduit group. So what I did was, because when you do a Zoom, you guys know how you have, because when I have a leadership Zoom, everybody's on camera. If I have like a bigger Zoom, because I don't know everybody, I make sure that those people aren't on camera. But anyways, the thing I told them is I would do a Zoom, and then the partner would be like this and upset, like, no, this is what he has to do. The problem is you're not communicating. So when I go, this is what I'm going to do. I'm only going to have the people that are actually going to appointments, helping clients on my Zooms, leadership Zooms. I have the office Zooms where everybody's on. But when I'm having a talk about production, licensing, leadership, I'm only going to have the ones actually doing that part of the business. Because if I'm telling Daniel something and the partner's there, she's going to think I'm mad at Daniel or I'm attacking Daniel. And we don't need that. You get me? And I think that's what a dynamic that helped out. And when I do contests, I also have a partnership number that the partners, if they want their partner to go to, they have to hit as well. So it's been great. I mean, the partners have started, the ones that say they want to be productive as on top of the back end have started producing more. And I think that's what also has brought the numbers up as well.
Yeah, that's big, man. Because that could double some of these guys' numbers. That could double the production if you have your spouse in the game too. So that's big, man. I admire that. I admire you, Abraham, because you've always been a fighter. You've always been a worker. You've always been somebody that really cared about the company and wanted the company to succeed. And so we're kind of going to wind down now, but I like to ask this question. I want to know, like, what advice would you give the young Abraham Montiel? What advice would you give a younger self of you right now? If you're talking to 18-year-old Abraham, what do you tell him right now?
I would tell him, humble yourself. The sooner you humble yourself, I tell people this. With no humbleness, there's no growth. With no humbleness, there's no growth. Ask yourself, who grows with not being humble? Nobody grows without being humble. I've had to swallow my pride. I wish I would have done it sooner. That's what I would tell the younger Abraham. I wish I would have been a little less defensive. Not everybody's trying to get you. Not everybody's trying to, take something from you. Chip on your shoulder. I mean, I think the chip has helped me, but I think maybe I wish I would have realized it sooner that being defensive is not productive, right? And I would just say, I think I've always put in the time. So I won't say, hey, put more time, but I would say be wise with your time. Be more wise with your time. Don't play around with time. Because time goes faster, it blows by, and you don't want to end up, bitter and older. I tell everybody, you either get bitter with age or you get better with age, and it's up to us. And I think I would say for me more, it would be humble yourself sooner, listen to understand, not to reply. And I think those are the things that I would tell them, like just be more aligned, and I think those are the tips that I would give for me.
I love that, Abraham, because I mean, especially coming from when you don't have a lot of money, right? I mean, a lot of what the poverty mentality really is, right? I mean, it is a form of poverty mentality where, you're defensive because you don't have anything, and you always think somebody's trying to scam you, because in poorer neighborhoods, what is everybody doing? Scamming each other, man. Everybody's trying to get more money because they don't got money. That's why I tell people all the time, don't get down on rich people, man. It's good to be rich, man, in America. It's good to be rich, because the last time I checked, right? When I leave my house, I'm not thinking about how I can scam somebody for their money, or I'm not thinking about how I can steal something, right? Think about it. A poor person, poor mentality is they are leaving their house and they're thinking survival mode, right? I have to survive. I have to go steal, get something for me and my family, which I get it. But ultimately, we have to get rid of that poverty mentality, because it really makes us way too defensive. So if you're listening right now, somebody out there, and you always feel yourself being defensive and thinking that somebody's out trying to hurt you, lessen that, that feeling, lessen it, and give yourself an opportunity to seek to understand, seek to be wise, seek to figure out what they're really talking about.
Yes.
And then you can determine whether or not it's a scam or somebody's trying to hurt you or whatever. But don't think that everybody, and the reason why I always say this is because, look, I mean, there's a lot of rich people going on in the world, all over the world. There's a lot of rich people, and they're building big houses and mansions and cars and Ferraris and all. They ain't building it just to build it. They're building it because somebody's going to buy it. And guess what?
Yes.
Something works out there. Doesn't mean that my business is going to work for you, but something is going to work in the world to help you get the things that you want. You just have to have faith that some of those things are out there. So, hey, look, man, just to kind of wrap it up, Abraham, what's your favorite book?
Well, I have a few, but my favorite one is How I Grew Up, and it's No Excuses by Brian Tracy. No Excuses. And that's funny because when I was playing baseball, our coach had T-shirts made that had our team name, and then it said "No excuses, make it happen." And when it said "No excuses," it had the little circle with the little line across. I don't know what that's called. I forgot what it's called.
Yeah, no,
but
I know
that little circle with
that's cool.
So it said "No excuses, make it happen" in the back, and that was our model. That was we went from a last place team. We won our first league title in 49 years. North Hollywood High School. They hadn't won a baseball league title in 49 years. So, I think all that stuff. So Brian Tracy's "No Excuses, Make It Happen" is favorite for me.
Favorite movie.
I have a few. I like The Karate Kid.
Oh wow! I just rewatched all the Karate Kid movies with my daughter and my son. And then we started watching that Cobra Kai also. Have you watched the Cobra Kai?
I watched a little bit of the Cobra Kai. Yeah, but the OG Karate Kid, because ever since when playing sports, right? So you watch that movie and then he says, wax on, wax, and then he goes, "Come here, Daniel, son. Always look high, always," meaning stay focused, right?
Yeah.
So, but even growing up, when I saw that movie, it made me even want to work harder at baseball and put in more hours. It's weird. And to this day, I can watch that movie like I never watched it. I still get butterflies on every scene, I still get anxious and I think Karate Kid, was my favorite. I mean, the Rocky ones are there too,
Yeah.
But
no, I love that.
Anything like that is what I love, but that Karate Kid is ones that still to this day sticks to me.
Good stuff, man. Favorite food?
Oh, I think you might know this one. Sushi.
Yes.
Right. I love sushi all day long. That 3-4 days a week, man. So we got to make money to eat.
There you go. There you go. Ice cream or cake?
Cheesecake.
Cheesecake. Okay. All right. Kind of like creamy, like almost like a in between.
Yeah, I like vanilla. If I do have ice cream, it's got to be vanilla. I'm not a big chocolate fan.
I love it, man. I love it. Well, hey, look, Abraham, man, this has been so much fun. I'm just excited that, we've known each other for such a long time. I'm excited to have this conversation with you. And there's no question you've added massive value to people that are watching right now. And I just want to make sure you tell us where we can find you, because there are going to be people that are going to watch this podcast or watch this on YouTube or watch this or listen to this on iTunes or Spotify. And they're going to go, who is this guy, Abraham? Maybe I want to go into business with him. Maybe I want to call him and ask him questions. Maybe he can help me with my finances and things like that. So tell us a little bit about how we can get a hold of you and where we can find you.
Well, I've been on Facebook. That was my original, right? And it's Abraham Montiel, just like it's spelled there. But now I'm more on Instagram. I'm not big on Twitter yet, but Instagram I am. And that's my main source now. I kind of said Facebook's like my old girlfriend's and Instagram's my new one.
Oh, okay. All right.
New thing. Yeah. You get me? And because the people on Facebook, it's like people you knew for years, right? And Instagram, it's the new generation, and I think that's why I've gravitated to it. So that one's Abraham Montiel altogether, like my name. And then the real Abraham Montiel. And so just the real, and because there's no imitations, right? And like the real Daniel Alonzo.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, so the real Abraham Montiel on Instagram.
Okay, Abraham, thank you so much for being with us. I want to let everybody know, make sure you go out and follow Abraham right now. Get to know this stud. Start, picking up some of those books that he recommended. And look, take some action today. Do something different today. After listening to this or watching this, do something different. Take some action and just make sure that you continually dream bigger. Get after it, as always, and do it now. God bless you. We'll see you guys at the top.